हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, आज के वीडियो में हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं टाइप्स ऑफ ट्रायंगल्स की प्रॉपर्टीज। नाउ इफ वी टॉक अबाउट टाइप ऑफ ट्रायंगल्स, सो बाय एंगल्स how many different type of triangles do we have? So first of them is acute angle triangle, then comes right angle triangle, and then comes obtuse angle triangle. Now if there is a triangle something like this where one of the angle is 90 degree, this side length is C, this side length is A and this side length is B. तो ये तो सबको पता होता है कि यूजिंग पाइथागोरस थ्योरम ट्रायंगल अगर राइट एंगल है तो जो ग्रेटेस्ट साइड है विच इज सी, उसके केस में रिलेशन आता है ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू सी स्क्वायर। बट अगर ट्रायंगल ऑब्ट्यूज हो तो क्या होगा, सोच के देखो। अगर ट्रायंगल ऑब्ट्यूज है तो कहीं ना कहीं अगर इसी ट्रायंगल की हम बात करें, इस एंगल को 90 डिग्री से अगर मैं बढ़ाना चाहूं तो ये कुछ यहां पे जाएगा। इन दैट केस ये साइड लेंथ बढ़ जाएगी। तो साइड ए वही है, साइड भी वही है, सी अगर वही है तो रिलेशन क्या हो जाएगा, सी की लेंथ बढ़ गई है ना। ए और बी वही है, सी की लेंथ बढ़ गई। तो पहले इफ ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर वेयर इक्वल टू सी स्क्वायर, नाउ वी कैन से दैट ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर विल बी लेस देन सी स्क्वायर। एंड सिमिलरली इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट एक्यूट एंगल ट्रायंगल, तो क्या होगा, ये जो 90 डिग्री है उसको थोड़ा सा हम ऐसे श्रिंक करेंगे, छोटा करेंगे, है ना। दोनों साइड्स ए और बी को थोड़ा और क्लोज लाएंगे, समथिंग लाइक दिस। अगर थोड़ा और क्लोज लेके आए तो ये मेरा नया सी होगा। तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रही है, सी की लेंथ कम हो जा रही है। ए और बी को हमने कांस्टेंट रखा है, सी की वैल्यू कम हो गई अगर एंगल हमने 90 डिग्री से कम किया। तो अब रिलेशन क्या होगा, अगर यहाँ पे इक्वल टू है, नाउ वी हैव रिलेशन ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर will be greater than c square. So this is the relation between the sides in acute angle triangle, right angle triangle and obtuse angle triangle. Other than that, दूसरी कैटेगरी होती है ट्रायंगल्स की बाय साइड लेंथ्स, जिसमें तीन अलग अलग तरह के ट्रायंगल्स होते हैं। एक हो गया स्केलीन ट्रायंगल, ऑल थ्री साइड्स आर ऑफ डिस्टिंक्ट लेंथ। दूसरा हो गया आइसोसेलेस ट्रायंगल, जहां पे दो साइड की लेंथ इक्वल होती है। और तीसरा हो गया इक्विलैटरल ट्रायंगल, जहां पे साइड लेंथ्स, ऑल साइड लेंथ्स आर इक्वल। ठीक है, नाउ अब आगे बढ़ते हैं, इन्हीं कॉन्सेप्ट्स पे क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने की कोशिश करते हैं। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इट सेज इफ द साइड्स ऑफ एन ऑब्ट्यूज एंगल ट्रायंगल आर 6, 14 एंड n, फाइंड द टोटल पॉसिबल वैल्यूज ऑफ n। बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन है। हमें क्या पता है ऑब्ट्यूज एंगल ट्रायंगल में, चलो पीछे जाते हैं, जो भी ग्रेटेस्ट साइड है, C इज द ग्रेटेस्ट साइड, देन ए स्क्वायर प्लस बी स्क्वायर मस्ट बी लेस देन द सी स्क्वायर। नाउ इन दिस केस हमारे पास थ्री डिफरेंट साइड लेंथ्स हैं, 6, 14 एंड n। ये तो पता है कि 6 ग्रेटेस्ट नहीं है, बट 14 ग्रेटेस्ट है या n ग्रेटेस्ट है ये हमें मालूम नहीं है। तो क्या करेंगे, दो अलग अलग केसेस लेने पड़ेंगे कि 14 अगर सबसे बड़ी साइड हो और इफ n इज द ग्रेटेस्ट साइड। बट बिफोर दैट कैन वी डिफाइन द रेंज ऑफ n, व्हाट कुड बी द वैल्यूज ऑफ n इफ n इज एन इंटीजर। सो वी नो दैट इन एनी ट्रायंगल एनी साइड लेंथ इज लेस देन द थर्ड साइड, एनी साइड लेंथ इज लेस देन सम ऑफ द अदर टू साइड एंड ग्रेटर देन द डिफरेंस ऑफ rest of the two sides. So in that case we can say that n will vary from 14 minus 6, n will be greater than 14 minus 6 and less than 14 plus 6. Now in this case we can say n will vary from 8 to 20. This will be the range of n. But क्या सारी वैल्यूज n की यहाँ पे सही होंगी? क्या n की सभी वैल्यूज के लिए लाइक 9, 10, 11, 12 अप टू 19 ये ट्रायंगल ऑब्ट्यूज होगा? नहीं। कैसे पता करेंगे, चलो देखते हैं। केस 1, व्हेन n इज ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू 14, इफ n इज ग्रेटर देन इक्वल टू 14 इट विल बी द ग्रेटेस्ट साइड, है ना। सो इन दैट केस वी कैन से दैट 14 स्क्वायर प्लस 6 स्क्वायर should be less than n square, or n square should be greater than 14 square 196, 6 square 36. So 36 का 4 इधर डाल दो, 200, 232, तो ये हो गया 232. Now values of n should be such that n square should be greater than 232, but n should also be less than 20. So what is 232? 230 के आसपास कोई परफेक्ट स्क्वायर समझ में आ रहा है? 15 स्क्वायर कितना होता है? 225. 16 स्क्वायर कितना होता है? 256. So we can take n is equal to 16, 17, 18 and 19. All of these four values of n will give us an obtuse angle triangle with two other sides being 6 and 14. Now case 2. Case 2, when n is less than 14. If n is less than 14, then 14 will be the greatest side, and in that case the relation that we get is 6 square plus n square is less than 14 square. In that case n square will be less than 14 square 196, 6 square 36, तो कितना आ गया? 160. अच्छा, 160 के आसपास परफेक्ट स्क्वायर कौन सा है? 13 स्क्वायर 169 होता है, 12 स्क्वायर 144 होता है, तो n की वैल्यू 12 तो हो सकती है ग्रेटेस्ट, बट n की वैल्यू 8 से बड़ी होनी चाहिए. तो इन दैट केस वी कैन से n शुड बी 9, 10, 11 or 12. Question is find the total possible values of n. So our answer is 14. Sorry, not 14. Our answer is 4 plus 4, a total 8. 14 तो one of the sides है. So 8 distinct values of n are possible. Now कई बार सेम क्वेश्चन को अलग अलग तरीके से रिप्रेजेंट किया जाता है. Like what will be the sum of all the possible values of x? What will be the product of all the possible values of x? What will be the number of factors of the product of smallest value of n and greatest value of n, and so on. Okay, now let's go to the next question. First question, if the sides of an obtuse angled triangle are 6, 14 and n, find the total possible integral values of n. n is also an integer. तो अब देखो obtuse angle triangle के लिए हमने क्या पढ़ा है कि if out of A, B, C, C is the greatest side, then A square plus B square must be less than the C square, where C is the greatest side. Now in this case, 6 cannot be the greatest side of this triangle, but 14 can be and n can be. So we can take two different cases when n is the greatest side, when 14 is the greatest side, right? Two different cases. But before that, can we find some values of n that will make a triangle where other two sides are 6 and 14? So using properties of triangles, we can say that sum of any two sides must be greater than the third, and the absolute difference between any two sides must be less than the third. Using that, can we say that 14 minus 6, the absolute difference, n must be greater than this, and 14 plus 6, sum of the sides, n must be less than this. Or we can say that n must be greater than 8 and n must be less than 20. So this is, we are getting about n. We need to consider values of n which fall inside this range, nothing else. Now time to take the cases. If you take case 1 where n is the greatest side, means n is greater than 14, then what will happen? If n is greater than 14, then we can say that n square must be greater than 6 square plus 14 square, or n square must be greater than 36 plus 196, which is 232. Now n की कौन सी वैल्यू हम ले सकते हैं जो 232 से जस्ट बड़ी हो n स्क्वायर के लिए? सो इफ यू टेक n इज इक्वल टू 15, then 15 square is 225. That is not possible. We can take smallest value of n, that is 16 in this case. That means n we can take 16, but remember n must be less than 20. So the integral values of n in these cases that we should take is n is equal to 16, 17, 18 and 19. 4 values. Now second case. In second case, if we take n is less than 14. Now in that case, 14 will be the greatest side. And so we can say 6 square plus n square must be less than 14 square. So from there we can say n square must be less than 196 minus 36. It will be 160. Now again, n must be greater than 8. But in this case, what could be the maximum integral value of n? If you take n is equal to 12, 12 square is 144. But if you take n is equal to 13, 13 square is 169, which is greater than 160. So n we can take as 9, 10, 11 and 12. So total 4 values here, 4 values here. This 8 value, if you take any of these values of n, out of any of these 8 values, you will get an obtuse angle triangle. So our answer is 8. All right. Now, time for the next question. Next question, it says, if the sides of an acute angle triangle are 7, 15 and n, find the total possible integral values of n. Now the triangle is acute. Previously it was obtuse. Now it's acute. In acute angle triangle, what do we know? We just learned that if C is the greatest side, then A square plus B square must be greater than the C square in case of acute angle triangle. Right? Now let's check. Again, in this case, if we find the range of x, x must be greater than the difference of these two sides and less than the sum of these two sides. So difference is 8 and sum is 22. So n, values of n must lie between 8 and 22. Now let's take the cases. Case 1. When n is greater than 15, greater than equal to 15, what we can say, that n square must be less than 15 square plus 6 square, or n square must be less than 15 square 225, 6 square 36, so 261. We should take values of n for which this must be less than 261. N square must be less than 261. So the values of n that we can take, now think about this. If you take n is equal to 17, so in that case 17 square is 289. That is not possible. So we must take less than 17 and greater than equal to 15. So n we can take 15, 16 and 17. Now in case 2, if n is less than 15, then 15 will be the greatest side. So in that case we can say 7 square plus n square must be greater than 15 square, or n square must be greater than. So in that case this will be 225 minus 49. So 225 minus 50 करते हैं पहले 175, फिर प्लस 1 कर दो तो 176 आ गया. Now what should be the value of n for which this is satisfied, right? So if you take n is equal to 13, 13 square is 169. That is not possible. What values we can take for n? We can take n is equal to 14. N must be greater than 8 but less than 22. So we have already taken 15. We can also take 15, 16, 17 in this case. But again, we have taken n less than 15. So that's why I am considering only one value of n, which is n is equal to 14. So what will be our answer in this case? So total values, different values of n, 3 here and 1 here. So answer will be 4. 4 different integral values of n are possible. Now, next question, it says triangle has sides a square, b square and c square. Then triangle with sides a, b, c has to be. Now this is a very interesting question. जो भी concept अभी तक हमने किए हैं उसके basis पे ये questions बड़े ही आसानी से solve हो सकता है. But I would ask you guys to pause the video, try this question, then check the discussion. Okay. Now let's solve it. Triangle has sides a square plus b square and c square. Now in any triangle, what do we know? That sum of any two sides must be greater than the third, and the absolute difference between any two sides must be greater than the third side. Sorry, less than the third side, right? So in that case, अगर मैं यहाँ पे दो साइड a square और b square को कंसीडर करूँ तो sum of any two sides must be greater than the third. This is what we are getting. Now a square plus b square is greater than c square. If you consider this in a triangle with side length a, b and c, then what do we know? अभी हमने किया है just इससे पहले वाला क्वेश्चन. This is a relation that we get in an acute angle triangle with side lengths ABC. So what is our answer? In any acute angle triangle, a square plus b square is greater than c square. Okay. So next question. It's a very good question based on right angle triangle, where it says in a right angle triangle a, b and c are sides of triangle a less than b less than c. C is the greatest side. C will be the hypotenuse. A and b will be the perpendicular sides. Given that a is equal to 10, 8a plus c is equal to 9b, then what will be the value of c? So in that case, if I draw a triangle something like this, this is c, this is b and this is a. So what do we know? We know in right angle triangle a square plus b square is equal to c square. This is the relation that we get. Now if we solve this question, what can we do? If I put a is equal to 10 here, this will become 80 plus c is equal to 9b. Now instead of c, if I try to put something, so what I can put, that this will be a square can be written as 10 square plus b square is equal to c square. So we can also say that c square minus b square is equal to 100. So what do we need? We can put c in terms of b. Can I do that? Yes, I can write c is equal to 9b minus 80. Now if I put this here, so let's put it, instead of c I can put 9b minus 80 whole square minus b square. This should be equal to 100, right? Now if I break this, this will be 81b square minus 80 into 9, 720. So 1440 plus 80 square 6400 minus b square is equal to 100. Or we can write it as 80b square minus b square, 80b square minus, so 1440, this is 1440b, so 1440b plus 6300 is equal to 0. Or I can take common 23 from all the values, this 20 not 23, then this will become 4b square minus 72b plus 315 is equal to 0. Now we need to break 72 such that the product is 4 into 315. 4 into 315, we need to make this product as a into b, where a plus b is equal to 72, right? So कैसे कर सकते हैं? चूंकि 72 इवन है तो दोनों तो इवन होंगे ही, बाकी और क्या कर सकते हैं सोचो, दिस इज नथिंग बट 630 इंटू 2 और 1260 होता क्या है? सो देखो 42 इंटू 3 वी कैन राइट इट एज 42 इंटू 3 इज 126, 42 into 30 will be 1260, which is nothing but 4 into 315. So now I can break this as 4b square minus 30b minus 42b plus 315 is equal to 0, or we can take 2b as common. So 2b minus 15 minus, we can take 21 common, 2b minus 15 is equal to 0, or now we can take common 2b minus 15, then we get 2b minus 21 is equal to 0. Now think about this. Now we can say b can be 15 by 2, which is equal to 7.5, or b can be 21 by 2, which is equal to 10.5. Now in that case, which value should we take? So you can see it's given in the question that A is less than B. If I take B is 7.5, then that is not correct. So this is not correct. You must take B is equal to 10.5. Now if I take B is equal to 10.5, A is equal to 10, B is equal to 10.5. Using the Pythagoras theorem, we get C is equal to square root of 10 square plus 10.5 square, right? This will give us 14.5. So our answer is option A. Now, this question, if you try to solve this question using Pythagoras theorem, using this concept, then it's easier. But if you try to solve it using triplets, so ये काफ़ी complicated हो सकता है आपके लिए, कि जो ट्राइंगल में पाइथागोरस ट्रिपलेट्स होते हैं तो काफी दूर जाके हमें एक ट्रिपलेट मिलता है 20, 21 एंड 29, जिसका अगर हाफ लें तो हमें मिलता है 10, 10.5 एंड 14.5. So now this is correct, and using this also following this condition, this one. But again, this is a very long shot. So I will suggest that this question you should solve these type of questions using Pythagoras theorem, not Pythagoras triplet. Okay. Now, next question, it says find the area of the largest possible isosceles triangle such that the perimeter of the triangle is 22 and sides are integers. See, largest possible isosceles triangles means area of, means largest area. Okay, area of largest possible isosceles triangle or largest area of the isosceles triangle, which perimeter is 22, same thing. So how many different isosceles triangles are possible where sides are integers and perimeter is 22? So one thing that we have learned in one of the previous videos of geometry for CAT, that in any triangle, if A is the greatest side and P is the perimeter, then A must be greater than equal to 1/3 of the perimeter and less than half of the perimeter if A is the greatest side. So in that case, if we try to consider three side lengths A, B and C, where A is the greatest side, what could be the minimum value of A? Integral value 22 by 3 is 7 point something. So minimum value I can take is 8. Now next I can take 8 and 6. Sum should be 22. Then next will be 8, 7, 7. Now no more isosceles triangles are possible where side length is, smallest side length is 8. Then we can take 9. If I take 9, then I can take 9, 9, 18 and then 4. No other triangles are possible where one of the side is 9. Then we need to take 10. So 10, 10 and 2. Then we can take 10, 9 and then 3. But this is not isosceles, right? So 10, 6, 6. This is the possibility. Sum of the other two sides is 12. So 10, 6, 6. This is possible. Now think about this. We have 5 different isosceles triangles. So how do we check which triangle has maximum area? So one thing that I will tell you here, which is very important, whenever you are trying to find area of a triangle, maximum area of a triangle whose perimeter is fixed, so you should take the side length which are closest to each other. Closest का मतलब अगर हम यहाँ पे देखें 8, 7, 7, यहाँ पे जो साइड लेंथ है वो क्लोजेस्ट टू ईच अदर है. यहाँ पे 8 - 6 2 का गैप है, यहाँ पे 1 का ही गैप है. So in that case, if we try to check the area, so for area we can use the Heron's formula, which is nothing but using perimeter, semi-perimeter. What will be semi-perimeter? 8 plus 7 plus 7 divided by 2. This will be 11. Our area of a triangle using Heron's formula is S into S minus A, S minus B, S minus C. Now if we put these values here, this will be 11. 11 minus 8 will be 3. 11 minus 7 will be 4 into 4, which is equal to square root of, this is 16, this is 33. So 16 into 30, 480, plus 16 into 3, 48. If you add this, we get 528. So our answer is option A, square root of 528. We can, just in case, we can also try other triangles also, but you will see that this will give us the maximum area. कैसे? चलो एक और try करते हैं. This one. Now in this case, perimeter will be 11, but the area will be square root of 11 into 11 minus 8 is 3 into 3. 11 minus 6 is 5. This gives us 45 into 11, which is equal to 495. So this area is very close to this one, but not greater than this, because in this case sides are closest to each other. Okay, now we don't need to check the rest of the possibilities. All right. Okay, so with this we are done with types of triangles. We got to learn so many things and we discussed so many amazing problems. I hope you find this helpful. See you in the next video.